Graham Rawlins with News Geelong. The leaders for Geelong Group were all smiles after setting a new World Guinness Book of Records for a human smiley face at the Northern Bay College this week. Wicked women, seductive sinners, vicious vixens, the female criminals portrayed in many guises in popular culture, myth, film, literature and history, as the exhibition of Femme Fatale at our National War Museum shows. And later in the program, the Flying Hawk, Nathan Curry, brings us the pulsating world of sport, and sparkling Lani Salathiel will update us on the week of weather that lies ahead. A new 8-ton magnetic resonance machine, that's an MRI, magnetic resonance imaging machine, the first of its kind in regional Victoria, was hoisted into position through a hole in the roof at St John of God Lake Imaging last weekend. Technologies such as MRI and CT scanners are at the forefront of these medical advances, as Ian Nicholls reports.
Well, News Geelong has taken us to Lake Imaging, inside the bowels, if you like, of the St John of God Hospital. There's a lot going on here, a huge redevelopment, and today we're moving an MRI machine. It's a big job, and a big crane has been brought in to replace this one. It's going up to St John of God in Ballarat, and we expect that it's going to take several hours before the other imaging machine can be lowered through the roof. And overseeing the operation is Dr. Vince Mercuri from Lake Imaging.
Finally, the 3T magnet comes in. It's a bit sad to see this one go because there's nothing wrong with the machine, but we're certainly upgrading to the new technology. So there's going to be improved imaging with much better resolution. We'll be able to do some imaging that we haven't been able to do with this. So we're really looking forward to that coming in.
I believe this is going to St John of God in Ballarat, so it's still being put to very good use.
Absolutely. Look, I mean, it's a new machine, and it is in fact, as you say, going into Ballarat, so where we're putting in our second unit, yes.
And what would one of these weigh? Do you have any idea from an engineering point of view?
Look, I mean, we'd be able to get an updated version, but several tonnes.
Yes, and it's quite an operation. We're going to be here for an hour or three this morning, dropping the new one back in through the roof.
That's exactly right. Well, as you can see, it's the only way that it's actually going to fit in. So, and as I was saying earlier, I mean, this is the third one, so these guys have plenty of experience putting it in through that, relatively narrow opening.
Well, that's right, and I'm sure that as each one is replaced, newer technology comes into play, and perhaps you could explain perhaps the subtle differences here.
Well, I mean, this is new technology. What we're actually doing is we're replacing the magnet strength. So this is going from a 1.5 Tesla unit to a 3 Tesla unit, which, I mean, the major advantages of those is that it will be faster imaging, it'll provide high resolution imaging, it will also provide the patient with a shorter imaging time, so that one of the things that you're in a magnet for up to 25-30 minutes for a scan, one of the problems is staying still. When that imaging time is shorter, it'll be much more comfortable for the patient, and therefore they'll be able to tolerate the exam shorter, which will make better imaging in terms of less movement artifact and so on. So that's certainly one of the advantages. The new advantage that we're putting in is we're putting in a wider bore magnet, a shorter bore magnet, so that it'll be much more comfortable. One of the issues that we often have is patients being either mild degree of claustrophobia and also being within an enclosed space. Even if you're not claustrophobic, it's actually quite uncomfortable. So this is certainly going to be significantly limiting that problem.
Well, that sounds like very good news to me, having just recently been in here and trying to remain still for several minutes. So that's great news.
Well, that's right. Well, the imaging time, even though it's 30 minutes, it's actually little blocks. Well, the blocks are sort of being shortened from, say, 4 minutes to 3 minutes, or 2 minutes to 1 minute, and so on. So that imaging time is really the critical factor, so that will be much more comfortable for the patient to tolerate during that time.
And this machine, when will that be up and running?
Well, we've been told that it's about 11 or 12 days. So, I mean, it's a pretty short turnaround. Normally they take 3 weeks or so, but it's actually quite short.
At the scene of an engineering feat here at St John of God Hospital, Geelong, this is Ian Nicholls for News Geelong.
Thank you, Ian. The Northern Bay P through Year 12 College in Geelong provides an innovative, supportive and responsible learning environment, and one to be smiling about, as 900 students recently created a new world smiley face record on its Be Nice on the Net Day, as Meryl Friend reports.
As part of the research of Leaders for Geelong, they had a look into the area of bullying in the Geelong region and wanted to come up with a positive idea on how to beat it. They came up with the idea of trying to break a world record to make a smiley face. They had to beat 500, and they did here today at the Northern Corio College, and it was over 900 kids. The catchphrase, "Be nice on the net."
Leaders for Geelong is a program that the Committee for Geelong came up with. They looked at a need within the Geelong community, and that was to develop leadership and to develop people with leadership skills. So each year they have an intake of about 25 applicants across all realms of business, not-for-profit, all sorts of things. They bring them together for a 2-year program.
So when did it start?
We started in 2009, and we're into our second year. The first year we learnt a lot about the Geelong community, so we've learnt all about issues as far as climate, education, poverty within Geelong, lots of different things, law and order, and have had some terrific experiences. The second part of our program was to do a research project, and we decided to do that on bullying in Geelong schools.
Okay, the research project we wanted to do was something that gave a good news story out to the community. So focusing on bullying in the school area in Geelong. So we were looking at different demographics, different schools, different areas in the Geelong community to see whether bullying was actually occurring and what kind of bullying was most prominent. So one of the things we found out was that most of the schools had really good processes, policies, procedures in place. So that was really, really great for us to see. So we thought, all right, looking outside of that, what else can we address in the bullying area? And we came up with cyberbullying. So cyberbullying obviously has our emoticon is the logo for, so that's what led us to try and beat the world record and create our biggest human smiley face, which had roughly 800 minimum students involved today.
Yes, it's taken quite a bit of time, and we've certainly had to have the support of a number of schools. And so the Northern Bay College is a number of schools all put together now, and so the principal Fred Clark has been great in assisting us to try and get a number of these schools together. So we've had to actually get 3 schools to attend on the same day, and the logistics of trying to get kids here was quite challenging. But we had all schools that were quite close, so they could all walk here. Then getting all the ponchos here and getting 900 kids in ponchos took a fair bit of time. Getting them all in the right spot and drawing it out beforehand, and we had a lot of support from the schools in doing that. So without the schools it wouldn't have been very, very difficult. But yes, logistically it was a bit of a nightmare, but for that 20 minutes or so where we had the smiley face there, it was fantastic.
And you've beaten the world record?
Yes, the world record was Orlando, Florida, so it was for a National Smile Day, I think, in Orlando, and they beat Baltimore, who had 286, to then go to 500, and now we're at around about 900 as far as we know, so that's great.
That's fantastic. What was the response from the kids?
No, the kids loved it. They were mucking around a little bit, and some of the ponchos got a bit wrecked, but I think they really enjoyed the experience, and were really welcome with the fact that they would be able to be involved in a world record bid, so I think they really enjoyed it.
Be Nice on the Net, Meryl Friend, News Geelong.
Thank you, Meryl. This is News Geelong as we go to a break and return with more news after this.